I love that. Just go out there and hoop. We're back with Miss Congeniality, Roscoe, and Perk. So Chris Paul joined Steph Curry as a leader in the locker room this season. Roz, you're an expert on all things Golden State from your time there. Why do you think CP3 partnering with Steph will work for the Dubs?
Well, I think like anybody else, we all thought in hearing this news that it was an odd pairing. Maybe some people might think it's going to be awkward. Certainly, Chris Paul has been rivals with Steph and the Warriors, and there's definitely reports about the strong personality of Chris Paul in the locker room. You know, could that affect the chemistry for the Warriors? And so from my perspective as someone who has been around the Warriors and covered Steph for a long time, not only is he an excellent player, but I think so much of the special things this Warriors group has been able to do over the years has a lot to do with who he is as a person and as a leader. His leadership style, the fact that he is egoless, he has a way of disarming people, and he gets a lot of respect. He's no slouch. He's well respected. So if there's any superstar that could make his locker room a safe space for a rival, perhaps an odd pairing, it is Stephen Curry. And his leadership permeates the rest of the team. Everyone else must get on board, and they'll follow suit. So I think, you know, Chris said, I don't really even know what my role is. I think as long as everyone comes to the table and puts the ego aside, Chris Paul could provide a nice change-up to the style of offensive play that relies so heavily on all that Steph can do and create.
Absolutely. I was at an event with Steph 2 days ago, and it was a lot of new people in the room. He did not meet a stranger there. He's just inviting, engaging, and just a great teammate, whether it is on the court and in business, you know, in his business moves. But Perk, how much do you think CP3 will impact the Warriors' championship pursuit this season?
He better impact it because this is his last opportunity, in my opinion, of actually winning the championship. And we always talk about, and Roz, that was a great point. You brought up the situation of how him and Steph are going to work alongside one another. Well, Steph could play off the ball. My thing is how in late game situations is Steve Kerr going to utilize Draymond Green and Chris Paul? Because Draymond Green has actually been the point guard for that team over the last 2 years, initiating their offense, pushing the pace, running the offense through him, while you see Steph and Clay back screening and cutting and, you know, popping back and actually being great screen setters. So when I look at CP3, one, he's going to have to change his way of playing and play more off the ball, probably lead the second unit with Jonathan Kuminga and those young guys as far as getting them involved and getting the best out of them. But if Chris Paul want to capitalize on winning the championship, I believe this is his last opportunity right now with the Golden State Warriors, and he has to make the best of it.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to be to try to shoot your shot at a championship. Now with our front office insider, Bobby Marks. Bobby, the Warriors have some real decisions to make when it comes to training camp starting. Can you break it all down for us?
Well, we're going to go to the touchscreen to go break it down, so come on over with me.
Oh, you want us to come? All right.
I think it's all going to depend on what we see with Klay Thompson here. That's my big question mark right now.
As it pertains to the lineup,
As it pertains to the lineup. And we're going to talk about Chris Paul in a minute. Now, here's the 34-year-old in February. He's extension eligible, 4 years, $223 million. Do I think he's going to get that? No. But I think when you look at Draymond Green getting a new contract, Steph Curry having 3 years left, could it be in that $3 to $100 million range here? Coming off last year, 69 games, 22 points. Now, that's what impresses me.
Okay.
You're starting to see his lift back coming off that injury. The first time since 2014-15. And I just think for where this Warriors lineup right now, he's the X factor.
Really?
Klay Thompson is the X factor here. Certainly that contract's going to come into play here.
Yeah, I love what I heard from Klay in the Podcast P interview. He was like saying, hey, I had some beefs, but nonetheless, I'm glad to be back and feel more like myself. What else did you see from the Warriors, you know, looking forward to their next moves, incorporating Chris Paul? Because I know the Jordan Poole swap was a thing. It was a factor.
Well, it is, and this is kind of where their bench is right now. And we have Chris Paul on here. And here's some of the questions here. Next 2 years, is it a $400 and $400 million team? Luxury tax and
They've been
salary.
up there.
Now, here's the question. We're looking at $400 for next year. That includes Chris Paul back on a non-guaranteed contract. and extending Klay Thompson. So you lose Chris Paul, how do you replace him? Now here's going to be the big thing. You know how many games coming off the bench? 0.
Oh, wow.
Now, is he going to start? Is he going to come off the bench? Is he going to finish games? That's a big question. The young kids, Moody and Kuminga, certainly X factors as far as what type of role do they play. And then, of course, has the championship window closed? Are they better than Denver, Phoenix, the Lakers, Sacramento?
Oh, that list is long.
So that's a big question there. And certainly, this is the year, if they're going to go out and win a championship.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports. And so, you know, James Harden, Philadelphia, Joel Embiid. It's the same thing, so I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about something that I saw on ESPN NBA Today. As you guys just saw, is Chris Paul a good fit for the Warriors? I kind of agree with Kendrick Perkins. He has to be, because he's in the last year of his contract. He's making $30 million, or 33, 31, I have no idea. Something 30, okay? He's making that much money, and his championship window is closing. And if not, it's going to be closed fairly soon, right? I don't think he's going to retire anytime soon, but he has injuries here and there. But let's talk about fit. Do you guys think that Chris Paul will fit with the Warriors? That's a tough question, because the style of play that the Warriors are accustomed to is fast-paced. And I'm not saying that CP3 is slow, but he's not used to that kind of pace. So unless he is actually training his butt off, unless Steve Kerr has him coming off the bench and with the young guys and whatnot kind of thing, I don't know if this is going to work, right? It possibly could. They probably could trade him. I think it's a trial and error thing, honestly, because, you know, as you guys know, anything new is going to have its ups and downs, 100%. It's going to be an experiment. And, you know, they could do all the scrimmages, they could do all the training camp, all the pregame warm-ups and exhibition games, all you want. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to regular season, everybody's going to play full throttle for the first 10 games, right? Because, you know, you've had the entire offseason to get better. You've had chance to grow, get muscle put on, you got healthy legs, whatever. So guaranteed, everyone's going to go full throttle. So this whole Warriors experiment has to work out, because if it doesn't, that's another year wasted for Stephen Curry, another year wasted for Draymond Green, and another year wasted for Klay Thompson. Speaking of Klay Thompson, he is extension eligible, so he has to play his butt off. And quite frankly, you know, we all know Stephen Curry is going to play his butt off because of the fact that, hey, you know, he's a superstar and he wants to win yet another ring. So if he does that, that's good. But can he do that with Chris Paul? That's tough. That's really, really tough. But at the end of the day, Steve Kerr ain't no joke, right? He knows what he's doing. And we're going to find out come November, late October, what the dealio is, because is Chris Paul coming off the bench? We have no idea. And is he going to take over the second unit? Again, we have no idea. But in terms of right now, the egos and whatnot kind of thing, I think they're going to put their egos aside because they have to, right? Chris Paul especially, he's not going to ruffle any feathers because he wants to win a ring. And what better place to do that than the Golden State Warriors? So he wants to win a ring. He is going to do whatever it takes to win that ring. And quite frankly, If it means coming off the bench, then he has to. You know, Kendrick Perkins made a good point. He kind of has to do whatever he's told. If Steve Kerr says you got to come off the bench, you know, you got to come off the bench. He's in the later stages of his career, and he wants to win a ring. And you don't know where he's going to end up. If let's just say all of a sudden it goes bad for him in the Golden State, right? And they trade him to, like, let's just say Orlando. We all know Orlando's not going to win the championship anytime soon. And he obviously doesn't want that, right? So he doesn't want that. No one wants to take on a $30 million guy, especially a contender, right? Nobody wants to take on that. But let's just remember that this is CP3's last year. He's in the later stages of his career. And it's going to be a rocky start at the beginning, but I think they will try to figure it out. They will figure it out. I'm not saying that they're going to be instant contenders. I'm not saying that they're going to, you know, go win the championship right now. All I'm saying is they will figure it out. So kind of want to hear from you guys. Will CP3 fit with the Warriors? Up-tempo, fast-paced, fairly young second unit with Kuminga, Moses Moody. You know, that's going to be a tough decision. But I think they'll figure it out. I'm just being optimistic. I'll be honest, I didn't like the trade when it went down. I thought it was one of those, somebody was trolling on Twitter kind of thing, you know, those fake Adrian Wojnarowski Twitter profiles. I literally thought it was that. I kind of had to actually legit see it. Hey, man, this is real. So I didn't like it at first. But if you're a Golden State Warrior fan, you have to roll with the punches. You have to roll with this. And the only thing to do is be optimistic. So I kind of want to hear from you guys. Is CP3 a good fit for the Warriors? And do you think it'll work out? Leave a comment in the comment section. As always, this is Jag from Jaggy Sports.